while we reduce dependency on donor funding and other institutions that have been supporting Uganda. Help us, the Lord, we shall stand on our own as a country and as the citizens to facilitate and support our own budget, our own growth, our own things that will help take this country to another level. We thank you for you've been faithful. In Jesus' mighty name we have prayed. Amen. You may take your seats.
Thank you so much, our beloved Assistant Commissioner, Agnes, for that powerful prayer. Indeed, it's going to be ultra simple and very conversational. But for purposes of who is in the room already, please allow me to speak just a little bit. At the podium right now, we have the custodian of customs in Uganda, and that is none other than the Commissioner Customs, Mr. Ebo Kagumire, and his job is faster trade facilitation. It is to ensure that a mali terwayo, and the moment it hits the market, you're able to do business very quickly. And on my immediate left is the chief custodian of the domestic side of revenue mobilization, and that is none other than Commissioner Sarah Muzunjo. I used to struggle with that name, Chelangat. And her job is to make sure that everyone who is earning a penny locally is actually able to fulfill their duty to Caesar and remit that penny as prescribed by all the laws concerning domestic taxes in the land. On my immediate right is the gentleman who is behind URA's technological revolution that is underway today, and it's none other than Commissioner Robert Mutebi, the Commissioner of IT and Innovation. And right besides him is the Acting Commissioner, Legal Services and Board Affairs, and that is none other than Stella Nyapendi. There's a third name. And we are very glad to have her with us this morning. Right after Commissioner Stella is our Commissioner Internal Audit, and his job is to verify and ascertain if our internal systems are actually indeed working the way they are envisaged or the way that we promised. And it's none other than Commissioner Herbert Rusoke. We are very glad to have you with us. Right after him is a person that you're already familiar with. She just gave us the opening prayer, and it's none other than Assistant Commissioner Agnes Asobola. And right after her is the voice that I hinted about much earlier. He is one of the key people in this country. He usually features very prominently as we advance towards the budget and even after, offering advice, offering post-mortem, so that we are able to avoid some avoidable things in the budget processing. And it's none other than Mr. Julius Mukunda, the lead of CS Bag. CS Bag in full is quite a long thing, and as you can see, I don't want to mispronounce it, but Google is our friend. If you want to appreciate what CS Bag is and what it does more extensively, do check them out. They're doing a terrific job. Right behind, we do have Dr. Okaka. He's also an assistant commissioner within customs, and he is in charge of making sure that in the process of trade facilitation and bringing in goods, things are in order. Whenever things are perceived to be not in order, he is the gentleman who comes in to remind you, sometimes using negligible force to, do things in order. And we are very proud of what it is that he is actually helping us do, because sometimes stubborn students require a very strict teacher. He's gentle in his approach, but when working, things can quickly become different if they are warranted to become different. And of course, we do have other very distinguished people that I would like to speak about. One of them is the team lead of the URA Media Management Function, Rita Muzira. I think she's busy right outside. We also do have the executive assistant to the Commissioner General, and it's none other than Ma'am Harriet Nantumbwe. She is the person, like the gospel says, the way to the Father is through Jesus Christ the Son. It's different with URA. If you want to have an appointment with the Commissioner General of Uganda Revenue Authority, Harriet is the way. And we do have our media officers, and these are the people who have been doing the running about to make sure that this press conference happens. And looking right back there, I can see Annette Nantongo, if she can wave. She is our in charge when it comes to media buying. So every time you see an ad on URA, on TV, an ad by URA, that work has been done by Annette, and we are very proud of what she's doing. We do have our digital media officer who is serving in the PR and comms function. She joined the team about 6-7 months ago, but she is doing a terrific job making sure that people who are existing online receive their updates pronto. It's none other than Priska Anan, if you can wave. We sort of can't see you if you stay hidden in that chair. Thank you. We do have Irene Kabakama, who is our senior photographer. Photography is usually a man's game, but Irene changed that narrative because she takes immaculate photos. And whenever you see a URA photo somewhere, just know that Irene Kabakama has blessed it with her camera. If you can wave. We also do have Winnie Akinyi Madiala, and she is in charge of making sure that all the communications we make to the outside world, our staff serving within URA are also updated with the same information, so that we can have a shared voice and a shared understanding of the agenda that is revenue mobilization. If you can wave, Winnie, thank you. Then we have the gentleman that you have been speaking with if you are a journalist who was invited to this press conference, and it is none other than Alan Kabahweza, and he is our external media officer. His job is to make sure that URA, the entity, is relating very well with the fourth estate. Mumukwate bulungi, ajaba kwata bulungi. Alan, if you can just wave to the people. That is Alan right there. And any minute now, we are going to be kicking off our press conference, where we shall be appreciating in detail how the taxman, together with the taxpayers, fared in the financial year that we just closed, and that is 2022 and 2023. And we shall also get to appreciate what lies ahead of us. I know there is a lot going on in this country, but the message is a message of hope. It's a message of optimism, because things are happening quite differently within URA, and you're all going to appreciate it in just a little while. For now, I'm going to request Dennis and the team to play for us some highlight videos about the freshest thing that we have been cooking. It is possible that some of you could have missed it. If we can have a few highlight videos, 1 or 2 of the Mpa iReceipt Yange campaign so that our friends of the Fourth Estate are able to experience what the country has been experiencing in that space. Thank you.
Wafunye risiti wagenze kuduka no kule bintu te wafunye risiti da yufune risiti teleka risiti nyoza risiti irisiti eyo jole sesi yange irisiti eyo jole sesi yange irisiti tompa bidara.
Uganda Revenue Authority has been high on fighting on
what is iReceipt?
Neman, thank you very much.
Wacha wewe.
iReceipt, please.
Uganda Revenue Authority has been
Uganda is rich in
Uganda Revenue Authority
Aujourd'hui tout est lilo, te wafunye risiti, wagenze kuduka no kule bintu, te wafunye risiti, da yufune risiti, teleka risiti, nyoza risiti, irisiti. Eyo jole sesi yange irisiti, eyo jole sesi yange irisiti, tompa bidara irisiti. Oja kumba irisiti, tomba bidara irisiti, oja kumba irisiti. Eno risiti yane, irisiti yane. Eno irisiti yane, no irisiti yane.
How many qualities does an iReceipt have? One is a physical document number. Two is a verification code. We send the digits. Three is a QR code.
My name is Magara Ivan. I'm a lucky winner of the brand new HP laptop, courtesy of URA, by iReceipt Yange campaign. I got to know about this campaign like 2 months back. I was seeing it on TV. The adverts, I followed the procedures. I downloaded the app, the iReceipt Yange app on Play Store. Then I started submitting my iReceipts. The iReceipts I would get them from the supermarkets, the restaurants, then Mubara wetuchukubira buli weekend. So I'm so grateful. I appreciate URA for the honesty and the transparency.
Oja kumba irisiti, tomba bidara irisiti, oja kumba irisiti, tomba bidara irisiti, oja kumba irisiti, tomba bidara
0.
My name is Okansimi Machret. I was using the supermarket. I was having 300 receipts. Now after I had a call that I'm a winner, I feel happy. Even I haven't slept that night. The happiness was too much. I thank you, RA. After God hears my prayers, I say, now I'm the one who is the winner. The happiness is too much.
Tomba Vidara, Mpa e-receipt yange. That's right. Insist on getting your e-receipt. It's your ticket to fantastic prizes, including motorbikes, laptops, fridges, and a fully paid 6-day safari for 2 in Uganda. Take a picture of your e-receipt, upload it to the URA website or mobile app, and you could be the lucky winner. The more receipts you upload, the higher your chances of winning. Terms and conditions apply. More details on our social media channel. Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together. Aujourd'hui tout est lulu, te wafunye risiti, wagenze kuduka no kule bintu, te wafunye risiti, dayo funye risiti, teleka risiti, nyoza risiti, irisiti. Eyo jole se yange irisiti, eyo jole se yange irisiti, tomba vidara irisiti. Oja kumba irisiti tomba bidara.
What is IFRIS in full?
Electronic fiscal risk and the invoicing.
Ladies and gentlemen, members of the Fourth Estate, leadership of the Uganda Revenue Authority, colleagues, friends, ladies and gentlemen, an apology for the late start. Commissioner General, everybody was seated here an hour ago, and we've kept them waiting. But it's also that there's a lot going on right now, especially at URA, a lot of multilateral meetings with the IMF, with the World Bank, with other associations. So would ask you to indulge us on that wait. But we thank you for being here in time. Commissioner General, before you are members of the Fourth Estate, we also have distinguished guests, Mr. Julius Mukunda, the CS BAG Civil Society Budget Group Advocacy Group Executive Director and Board Secretary is with us here. It is an honor and a privilege because he's a very big partner in revenue mobilization. And we're here basically to know how the Uganda revenue performed last financial year. For us not to waste time, to address you, ladies and gentlemen, is a man many of you call a man on a mission. At the Uganda Revenue Authority, we call him a transformer because of the transformation that is happening at the Uganda Revenue Authority. And to tell you whether we are on point, moving forward, and how we performed last financial year is the Commissioner General of the Uganda Revenue Authority, Mr. John Musinguzi, who will deliver a press address on the annual performance of the Uganda Revenue Authority for the financial year 2022-23. Mr. John Musinguzi, the audience of our Fourth Estate is here for you.
Enough. Distinguished guests and partners in the effort of revenue mobilization, colleague members of senior management, all the staff of Uganda Revenue Authority present, members of the Fourth Estate, the ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon. I take this opportunity once again to welcome you to Uganda Revenue Authority and to this press conference where we share our performance in revenue collection for the financial year 2022-23. As a tax administration agency, we want to first of all appreciate all our taxpayers for their great sacrifice and contribution in the development of our nation by paying their fair share of taxes. I ask the URA colleagues to put their hands together and appreciate our taxpayers. In the same breath, I want to thank the staff of Uganda Revenue Authority for their dedication and sacrifice in executing this divine and noble mandate of mobilizing revenue for our national development. You can also clap for yourselves. But very importantly, I want also to appreciate all the partners that support us in this noble mission. Our supervisors at the Ministry of Finance, our leaders in the different institutions of government, parliament, the executive, our civil society partners, our donors, and all other partners that support us on this mission. Let's please thank them as well. But above all things, we want to acknowledge and thank the Almighty God who gives us strength and wisdom to execute this noble task. And that requires a much bigger hand clap to God. And I hope in our partners, I mentioned, or I need to mention, if I didn't, the members of the Fourth Estate, the media fraternity. Thank you for supporting us in this cause. Now, I'm pleased to highlight the accomplishments of our citizens who have shown commitment to their country by fulfilling the obligation of paying taxes. And this is what has led us to the announcement, the results that we are just about to announce. In the press brief, I will explain the factors that led to the outstanding revenue collection performance for the last financial year and discuss some of the administrative and policy measures that were implemented. I'll also share the strategies for meeting the target for the new financial year and how each one of us can be a part of this journey towards our economic independence. So, performance overview for the last financial year 2022-23. Uganda Revenue Authority was able to collect 25,151,000,000.57. This is net revenue. We surpassed the target, which was 25. My apologies, I'll repeat this. Uganda Revenue Authority was able to collect 25.20905 trillion. That is 25,209,000,005 billion. This surpassed the target of 25.151 trillion by 57.48 billion. And it was a performance of 100.25%. This was an impressive achievement and a growth of 16.4% compared to the revenue collected in the previous financial year. So the growth of year on year was 16.4%. This performance was attributed to a stable and resilient economy, improved administrative measures, and the dedication and sacrifice of the patriotic taxpayers. The graph that is being projected On the screen is the performance in revenue for the last 5 financial years. From 2018 to 2019, 19 to 20, 2021 to 2021, 22, and then 2023, 22, 23. As you can see, with the exception of between 2018-19 and 19-20, where the growth was less than 1%, the rest of the years, the growth has been above 12%. 14.9 in the financial year 2020-21, 12.4 in the financial year 21-22, and now 16.4, which is the highest in the last 3 years, in the year 2022-23. In the last 5 years, there has been steady rise in revenue collections, and as the data projected reveals, also the growth in the economy has been steady over the years, from 4.6 in 2021-22 to 5.3 in the year 22-23. Detailed review of the performance. Domestic taxes collection. During the financial year 2022-23, total revenue of 16.425 trillion was collected, which exceeded the target of 16.118 by 101.46%. The target was 16.118, the performance was 16.425, and therefore the net surplus was 236.89 billion. This represents a growth of Uganda shillings 2.761 trillion, and this reflects in percentage terms 20.21% compared to the previous financial year. Direct domestic taxes exceeded the target with a surplus. Now this is further detailing of the domestic taxes. The direct domestic taxes alone exceeded the target with a surplus of 724 billion. Non-direct taxes, which include stamp duty, embossing fee, generated a surplus of 65.8 billion. However, the indirect domestic taxes fell short of the target by a deficit of 553.54 billion. So this is what brought the net surplus to 236. The next graph, shows the performance, the trend of domestic taxes alone over the last 5 financial years again. And as you can see, the growth in the financial year 2022-23 was the highest at 20.2%. International taxes collections. These are what we call customs taxes. A total of 9.329 trillion was collected from international taxes, which was just below the expected amount of 9.462 trillion. And it was a performance of 98.56%. The revenue growth was 892.47 billion. In percentage terms, it was 10.68% compared to the previous financial year. The collections were, however, short of the target by Uganda shillings 136 billion. The import duties registered a surplus of 257.17 billion. Temporary road licenses also had a surplus of 12.66 billion. Export levies had a surplus of 3.7 billion. However, the categories that registered a shortfall were VAT on imports of 161 billion, petroleum duty of 152 billion, excise duty of 55 billion, and withholding tax of 23 billion. Infrastructure levy by 19.1 billion and surcharge 14.9 billion. And again, the next graph shows the performance of international trade taxes, registering growth over the last 5 years, with the exception of 2019, again when there was a decrease by 6.35%. Subsequent years have been growing, although the growth in the last financial year was only 10.58%, which was a slight decline from the previous growth. Reasons for this revenue performance in the financial year 2022-23. One is the continued economic growth. As you've already heard, the domestic taxes the direct domestic taxes, which are taxes on companies and individuals, taxes like payee, like income tax, registered a surplus of 724 billion, which was significant. On the other hand, the indirect taxes like VAT and local excise duty and other consumer taxes, there was a deficit. So they reduced this otherwise significant growth of the direct taxes. So the improvement in the collection of direct taxes is attributed to the economic growth, which I've already referred to as having grown at 5.3%. The other attributable factor is the enhancement of the administrative measures. And these administrative measures include enhancements in arrears management, as will be explained later, mobilization of the taxpayers to promote compliance, employment of the mobile offices to be able to reach the taxpayers, and generally increased awareness through sensitization, resolving of disputes through alternative means, ADR, executing compliance initiatives such as audits, use of third-party data and analytics to guide our information, use of intelligence, and general incorporation of technology in improving our service deliveries. All these contributed to the significant growth of 16.4% in the revenues collected. Other administrative measures were in the expansion of the tax base. By the close of the financial year, last financial year, our tax register stood at 3.5 million taxpayers. This was a growth of 33.7%, and it added 882,286 new taxpayers on our register. And this was mainly achieved through data-driven registration efforts, but also the physical efforts through the Tax Registration Expansion Program, otherwise known as TREP. There were other interventions, like enforcement interventions. In the last financial year alone, customs enforcement operations countrywide led to 14,187 seizures. And these led to the recovery of taxes totaling to 132.77 billion. Most of the recoveries were from under declarations. These contributed 42% of the recovered taxes. Misdescription and false declarations, which accounted for 11.7%. Undervaluation, smuggling, and other forms of concealment. The other effort that led to improved performance was recoveries of arrears. In the last financial year, we were able to collect 1.991 trillion from arrears. 1.277 trillion was from non-government arrears. These are private taxpayers, and 713 was from government arrears. Another service, another administrative effort that led to the improved collection was litigation and debt recoveries. During the last financial year, we were able to recover 130.5 billion from this effort of court processes and debt recoveries. The litigation success rate was at 85.33%, and there is a table that breaks down the different cases. A total of 164 cases were ruled in favor of Uganda Revenue Authority, and 33 cases were ruled in favor of taxpayers. 28 were withdrawn in favor of URA, and 6 were split decisions. Tax investigations, compliance initiatives during the financial year 2022-23 had a number of cases handled. The measures undertaken by this initiative included utilization of intelligence, conducting of investigations, sharing of information, performing scientific analysis, examining forensic documents with an aim to deter fraud and non-compliance, while identifying and recovering revenue. Out of these efforts, revenue amounting to 174.67 billion was identified as recoverable. And the table shows the number of cases handled that total to 167, and the identified revenue totaling to 174.6 billion. Other initiatives, administrative initiatives, include the fight against corruption, and closing of any revenue leakages, deployment of efficient technologies like IFRIS and DTS, which have been very useful in giving us data that improves taxpayer compliance, but also improves our accuracy in assessing and demanding taxes. So these technologies are a win-win for the taxpayers and for the tax body. These and many other initiatives contributed to the performance that we are looking at today. Let me now highlight a few things in the period ahead. We are now in the second month of the new financial year. We are working towards a target of 29.218 trillion. This is an increase of 4.067 trillion from the previous financial year, and percentage-wise, it will be a growth or an increase of 16.17%. We are optimistic that with the steady growth in the economy, the support of our patriotic taxpayers and all stakeholders, we will be able to achieve this target. Among other things, in the administrative measures, we will continue and improve on our collaboration and engagements with the taxpayers, providing extensive tax education. We will continue the staff improvement efforts, fighting corruption, improving accountability. But in addition, we have also introduced performance management contracting. So our staff will be responsible for a very known target in terms of revenue, but also service, delivery of service. So we have service level agreements that must be observed and implemented at individual staff levels. And this will permeate throughout the organization. So in terms of contracting, we've contracted from Commissioner General with the board, then from Commissioner General to our commissioners, commissioners to assistant commissioners to managers, then managers to supervisors, to officers, to assistant officers, support staff, short-term employees, and trappers. Everyone who works in this organization will be part of this performance contracting. We will continue the implementation of digital solutions, particularly DTS and IFRIS. We are making initiatives to revamp IFRIS to make it more readily available through the channels that we use, and also more user-friendly. We will also continue and enhance our capacity in data analytics. We are deploying some technology of artificial intelligence, and we are incorporating all these in our new risk management strategy. So we'll be able to manage and deter risk of revenue leakage before it happens. We'll continue our efforts on audit initiatives and the use of other efficient and mutually beneficial initiatives like ADR, the alternative dispute resolutions, voluntary disclosure, and many others. And of course, we will sustain and even up our efforts in skilling of our staff and ensuring their productivity. But in addition to all these, we also have a number of new policy measures that are a win-win for the taxpayers and the tax collectors. One of such new policy measures is in the Tax Procedure Code, Section 40D, which was signed into law by His Excellency the President last week. And we really appreciate the quick signing of this bill into law. Now we have TPC 40D, and why this is important, it is going to cause a great relief to our taxpayers, because this law will waive all interest and penalty as at 30th of June 2023. Hello? Okay. So, let me repeat this because it's very, very important. I don't want anyone to miss this. TPC 40D will waive all interest and penalty for taxpayers who pay the principal tax. In other words, for all our taxpayers who have been grappling with big tax liabilities, you'll find that probably 50% of that tax liability or thereabout is as a result of compounded interest and penalty. So the government of Uganda has brought a law which you can read for yourselves in the Tax Procedures Code, and we will do public notices to sensitize you on this law. But the TPC 40D, what it says is that for all taxpayers who are willing and are able to pay the principal tax, penalty and interest as at 30th of June 2023 will be waived. Now this law has an expiry date, so anyone who wants to benefit from it must take advantage of it before 30th of December 2023. So between today, between the 17th of August, when this was signed into law, to 30th of December, when it expires, any taxpayer willing to settle their principal tax will benefit from this waiver. He will only pay, he or she or the company will pay principal tax, and then the interest and penalty will be waived. That is one policy measure that I wanted to emphasize because of its mutual benefit to the taxpayers, but also to government. The next bill that has a benefit to the taxpayer is a new act. It is called Automatic Exchange of Information Act 2023, which is making Uganda part of the Convention of Mutual Administration Assistance in tax matters. And this has put Uganda on a network of 120 countries and financial institutions, all financial institutions within those countries, to share information on financial flows. And what that will do is that whereas there could have been financial flows out of this country that were not visible to the Uganda Revenue Authority, we will now have access to this information. So why is it a good law for the taxpayers? Anybody who voluntarily discloses these financial flows that were taxable and did not pay tax at the time they were made will also benefit from the waiver of penalty and interest. But if you let URA find out, using the information that we will get from the network of mutual recognition that we've just joined, then penalties and interest will apply. So I also want to use this opportunity to appeal to all taxpayers, especially those involved in international transactions and transfer of funds. Take advantage of this new law and come to us for voluntary disclosure, which you do online. You don't even have to come physically, so that your taxes can be calculated and you only pay the principal tax, not penalties and interest when you wait for us to discover. So these are two great incentives for compliance. One is voluntary disclosure, which saves the taxpayer from penalty and interest as per the existing law. But the other one is arrears payment, which will help government recover arrears, taxes in arrears, which are in excess of 4 trillion. But government has passed a law that will allow government to forego some of that money in form of interest and penalties, but will collect the principal tax for those willing to comply and take benefit of this window. So ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, as Uganda Revenue Authority, we are very optimistic that despite the high targets, the big challenge ahead of us as a nation, where we must mobilize sufficient revenues to sustain us as a country, with the changes in the donor environment, we will be able to rise up to this challenge. But we can only do it with your support, with the support of all our patriotic taxpayers, and as we continue to work and support one another towards this very noble assignment. I thank you very much for listening to me, and I would like to take my seat now and invite any questions and comment from members of the Fourth Estate. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner General. Members of the Fourth Estate, we're going to have a microphone move around, and we could raise our hands. Let us take a set of 5 questions. Make sure we do not repeat each other, and be able to express a concern, put a question or a comment to the Commissioner General. Could I have a microphone? I'll give you mine. So I have a first hand here, a second hand. Any other hands? Okay, we'll go. Samuel.
Thank you, Mr. CG. Hope it's a very good afternoon. I'm Samuel Mwesigwa. I work with Baba Television Uganda, and we are blessed to have URA collected past the target. Some of the details that I've loved to put interest on, as a country, we are being affected by tax exemptions for many years that URA has declared, and you've made ways on now widen our tax base. We have raised this issue. What is your plan in this financial year and on the many tax laws that you are bringing? Secondly, as a wind-up, is URA thinking about or planning on a tax on gold? It has been a question in the country, and discussion is in corridors. I don't know whether they are thinking about it. Lastly, it is the digital tax. What has been the performance on digital tax? Because last financial, when you were giving us a report, you did say that URA has started taxing the digital platform. Want to see what has been the performance this time. Thank you so much.
Next thing, over here.
My name is Ismail Ladu Musa, Nation Media Group. Commissioner General, congratulations for hitting the target. Because by the time the budget was being read, we were told we are likely to, have a shortfall of about 2 trillion and above. But it seems there was a quick turnaround. But you did not explain or give a highlight of that quick turnaround. Where did it happen exactly? How did we close that anticipated shortfall so quickly? Then the other revenue gap is in illicit financial flows. I've not seen you tackle that head on. For instance, VAT fraud continues to be an issue. How are we going about closing that loopholes? Just an idea around that. Thank you very much.